I'm not upset. Frustrated because I can't figure out what in the world.
I think we're just doing it too fast. We are here on doing this shaft job. We had to put this shaft and this shaft into the boat, which looks as easy as you think it is. Since we didn't have all the hardware, all the new hardware for this shaft yet, I only worked on the port side. So I got the coupling on, I got the red hats on, and I also got the spare gasket right here that sits in this housing on. Now while pushing the shaft into the boat, we realized that the coupling was sitting a lot lower than this flange is right here for the motor side. So what we have to do now then is mess with these motor mounts right here to drop the motor or tilt it left and right, because these motors recently just got completely overhauled. There was a company that came down from Upper Florida. They tore these motors pretty much down to the block and then rebuilt them. So like, I mean, everything looks shiny and new. It's kind of cool. It was cool to watch for sure, to see the process of them tearing it down, everything all laid out, and then them building it back up. But since they did this, they kind of left everything loose, as you see. So we have to now come in and mess with the motor mounts a little bit to get this, the engine side flange and the coupler to be at the same height and same kind of like, it's just same overall, same roundness overall with the coupler. There is a tolerance that we're allowed to have, like a couple thousandths of an inch of it being like a little wonky, but not too much playroom. But today, what I'm doing is that I gotta put the coupling, the keyway, the locking bolts that go right here and all that jazz onto this shaft now, because we did get all the hardware for it. The coupling is downstairs. So we just got to put all the hardware on that one, and then we got to push this shaft in, and we got to see how close it gets to this and kind of what level it sits against this flange right here to see if we need to also mess with these motor mounts or not. So I'm going to start working on this. I'll stop periodically and show you guys what I'm doing, but for now I'm just going to be working on putting the keyway and the coupling on this, making sure it's sitting flat, and then I'm probably going to use the locking ring that these come with, this locking ring right here, and I'll use it to sit the coupling more down into the shaft itself. All right, so here's the starboard side coupler. This needed to get some repairs, but pretty much keyway, this slides onto the shaft X amount of weight, X amount of distance. It's heavy. You need 2 hands to flip it. Pretty much the shaft and the keyway will sit flush right here, and then that ring will sit right here, and then bolt in those 3 holes and keep it still, keep it steady so the shaft doesn't slide out of the coupler. These are the 2 shafts that we slid in on. Not as easy as it looks. Since we are missing the gasket, that little O-ring that I showed you guys that is sitting on that shaft, we are missing it for this shaft, the starboard side shaft. And I don't want to put the coupler on before we get that O-ring, because you can't put the O-ring while the coupler's in the way. So the plan of attack for today is to mess with these motor mounts to get the flange and the coupler itself to be perfectly in sync with each other. So there's no vibration issues, there's no extra stress on the couplers or that flange, and everything can just ride smoothly. So that's the plan of attack for today. So we got the coupling pushed all the way up, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but what I didn't want to happen is that we are going to have to pretty much move the entire motor inboard on these motor mounts to get that coupling lined up with the flange. The coupling itself is a little too inboard and won't meet perfectly up with the actual flange on the engine side. So we have to mess with these motor mounts right here and move the entire motor inboard to get that flange to meet with that coupling perfectly. So backup has arrived. 4,000-pound engine.
3,998 pounds, they say it weighs.
They just have to put it 2 pounds off.
If you add the transmission and all the extras, I know it's over 4,000 pounds. That's for sure.
So what are we doing here, and why do we have pretty much every single heavy tool that the shop has?
We put the prop shafts in. They have overhauled these engines all the way down to a short block, I believe. I didn't see it, but I think it was.
It was bare bones, cylinders out, everything.
They took the engine apart, they lifted the engine up, they did the bottom end, and then they sat it back down. So the engine is not in the same place it was when we took the shafts out. So now we have to align this part of the shaft here, the coupling from the shaft to the engine.
A bit hard for you guys to see. I don't know how well you can see it, but the engine needs to move inboard for it to be all lined up.
4,000-pound engine sitting on 4 spots. You don't just get in there and move it.
Yeah, you can't use a pry bar to really move these over.
Well, no, there's really nowhere to work with a pry bar. There's not enough length. So we'll use a hydraulic jack and try to move it over. And we don't even know if that's going to work. Doing anything, right, wrong, or indifferent, is better than doing nothing.
The quote of the day from Mel. All right, so we got the flange pretty centered on the coupling now. We worked out. We used a come along and a hammer to get the left and right pretty centered. Now Mel's back there working on those 2 motor mounts to get the up and down centered for this. So we're gonna raise the front end of this motor to drop the lower half of this motor to get, you can see where my breaker bar is. It's kind of at an angle, so we're just waiting for that to get straight, and that's how we know that it's kind of lined up. And we'll throw some bolts in there just to be sure. So this is pretty much what it's been. A lot of trial and error, little adjustments, come back and check, see what we need, a little more adjustments, come back and check and see if it fits. Come along smoothly but surely.
Well, we went to start the engines down here, and they started up. They ran for a few minutes and shut off. Found out on the port side, the port tank had no fuel in it, so we put fuel in it, started it up. Same problem, runs 3 or 4 minutes and quits. Check all the lines, they're empty of fuel. Took everything off the Raycor, straight to the engine, and I could get it to run straight out of the tank. So I had to jerry can about 50 gallons of fuel into the tank, so that's okay. I know I have 1/4 tank of fuel now. So I go straight to the tank, hook up to the engine, and the engine will run. So we have a problem from the tank to the distribution panel upstairs, which you choose port tank for port engine, starboard tank for port engine, port tank for starboard engine, starboard tank for starboard engine. We can't get to the backside of that to check all those connections. So what I've done is I've jerry canned the fuel into the tank. Now I'm going to work on the Raycors to see if this is the problem. From there, I'll go to the distribution panel if this doesn't fix it. But we're going to take the Raycors apart, which we didn't want to do because of the condition of them. They're extremely corroded, so
Rusty, nasty.
This could be where it's sucking some air. Not 100% sure, but we will find out.
Oh, yeah, just look at this, especially that one.
You can see I'm very, very apprehensive of this. I'm not sure this is going to come out so well for us. This hasn't been anything done to it for quite a while. Well, here's a moment of truth. Let's see what happens with this top. Okay. Came off easy enough, but this could be some of the problem where we're sucking air.
Yeah, isn't it? It's missing its gasket.
The gasket's there, but it's really, really compressed hard, and
I think it's missing.
We need to just clean this up really well. It could be pulling air in through here, so we just got to clean this up and see what happens. And I can tell you the Raycor, there is a problem because it is not full of fuel like it should be.
Is that oil?
I'm not going to say this is the problem. No, that's just dirty. Because this port tank was empty when I got here. Had no fuel at all. So if it is sucked through the engine filter like this, then, I mean, this definitely isn't helping. I'm not going to say it's 100% of the problem, but we'll start here.
Good chunk of it.
We will start here. This could be a spot where there's some air coming in, but we'll get these cleaned up, get new seals, new filters in there, and see what happens. So this one, that's quite dirty. I mean, even compared to this one, neither one of them are any good, to be honest. So we're gonna get 4 new ones because there's 2 over here also.
Oh, that one.
We're gonna have to do those 2.
That one looks a little scary back there.
We'll go get 4 new filters and see if they have a cap. If they have one, we'll get one. These aren't bad. Yeah. These are okay. That one, I'm afraid, is done.
That one's toast. So we got new filters for the Raycors, and usually with the filters they come with brand new O-rings, which is nice. Because if you look in the last kind of segment of video, you'll see that these ones are extremely compressed down and haven't been changed in years. You can see as these ones kind of fit flush with the lip here, give it a little more protection. So we cleaned the lids and the screws the best we can. We got new gaskets for the lids and the actual gasket for the screw itself. So we're gonna see if this fixes our throw problem. What do you think, man?
With everything the way it's gone so far, everything is possible. Most people would say anything. In this case, everything is possible.
So right now Mel is pre-filling the filters, making sure they have enough fuel in them. The filters changed and the caps changed. We primed the motors with the fuel bulb there, and it did seem to get a lot tougher and more resistance when we were priming it. So right now we're just gonna start them up and then see if it runs longer than 2 minutes. Mel, you ready? The battery's dead? You need to turn on to make sure that the boat is working. Start. A little bit of a hiccup. Starboard motor will start. Port motor sounds like it has a dead battery.
I don't know.
Maybe just a loose terminal or something.
No, it's not that simple.
Does that fuse look good?
That's for the bilge pump.
Alright, so we finally got it running. I think all Mel did was just take off the terminals off the battery, give the battery terminals a little scrub with a wire brush and put them back on. It seemed to do the trick. So right now we're just testing. Anytime we revved it up, it only lasts for about 2 minutes before it died out. So we're just revving it up so it can suck a little more fuel a lot quicker and see how long it lasts. Any leaks?
No leaks. I'm not upset. Frustrated because I can't figure out what in the world.
I think we're just doing it too fast. I mean, that's the thing with diesels. You can't open throttle it like that so quick.
Well, the rake core is still bubbling, sucking air, and I don't think that's normal. So we'll try the other side now.
See what happens.
See if it's any better, but I doubt it. I'm just going to switch to the right and then try both. Well, it's a machine, so you got to be able to figure it out.
All right, so the port side engine still keeps dying after a little bit, and we've been using the port side tank with the port side engine. So I wanted to try just switching the tanks real quick to the starboard engine on the port side, starboard tank on the port side engine to see if that would make a difference. If not, we're gonna have to dive further into these rake cores back there and try to figure out if they're drawing air from somewhere, if the rake core assemblies themselves need to be replaced so it can stop drawing air, or if it's just an easy fix like a gasket. But we're gonna try it. Let's find out. So we ran it. We still came to the same issue where after like 2 minutes, it would just start to bog down and die. So my idea didn't work of switching the tanks. I think the next step of what we're gonna do is switch the starboard side rake cores for better and newer filters, and that one with the new cap. And then we're gonna try to run the starboard motor and see how long that one runs for, and see if we're coming up with the same issue that we are with this one, which I hope not. I hope it's just a one engine issue, because if it's both, it's gonna be quite annoying. We will figure it out like we always do. So Mel and I have been trying to pull gas straight from the starboard tank through this fuel line. While we were doing it, we heard from what both of us thought it was is air, but we thought it was the pump, so we kept going. And then it started to get louder, so Mel's back there now. Mel's pumping up the pump, and he found there's a gash. What kind? Like a pinhole leak, or?
Well, if you look here, you can see there's a clamp to hold the hose back here against the bulkhead. It's sitting here like this. So you take the clamp away, and here's what you're left with. And that is just enough to suck air. So pump that pump a little bit, AJ, and we'll see if we can hear it. Yeah, there it is, right there. All right. Now we got to figure out how we're going to repair it.
That's going to be the fun part. Hopefully this is the root of our problems, which would make a lot of sense of it being the root of our problems.
Because it goes to a distribution panel up top where you can decide which engine gets fed from which tank. Right now is feeding from the starboard tank. So that's a very long run to get back here. That's why I think we heard the air sucking more now than we did when we were feeding from the
port tank.
But we got to fix this first. All right.
So we kind of came up with an idea for a temporary solution, which is just cut out the bad
solution.
Yeah. Cut out the bad where the hole is, and then we got a barb, and we're just gonna reconnect the two hoses with that barb and hose clamps just to get it running and see if it's gonna run. But that hole does sound pretty big. You know exactly where it is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see it. Want to put the hose clamps on first?
This side doesn't matter.
Yeah, look at that. That would definitely do it. That would definitely cause it not to run. Although funny enough, if you look on the inside, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it, but it's literally just a pinhole.
Yep.
So with the fuel line somewhat repaired, Mel and I, we hooked it up to the little pump that he has and pumped it into this, to the jerry can, and very good flow came out.
And we had good gravity feed to the hose also.
Started to gravity feed, so we hooked it back up to the motor, primed it with this bulb. That got all nice and firm, so we know fuel's getting to the motor. And now all we have left to do is just start it up and see if it runs for longer than 2 minutes. Mel, you ready? So what I just did is I revved it up a little bit so more gas can get through the system. It can suck up more quicker. So far, so good. She's staying alive.
Prop turning? Shouldn't be.
Well, it should be slightly.
We got to start it up. No leaks for the hose that we repaired. Running quite well. Going to give it a little bit of throttle here and see what happens. All right. Down here in the engine room and see what's going on. I'm going to say this is okay. So we got the starboard up and running. Now we got to work on, or the port up and running. We got to work on the starboard side now.
Getting all the tops and filters changed out. We decided to actually replace one of the cabs. This one, as you can see, it started to already like eat its way through the wall here where the O-ring sits. We decided that out of all four, this one definitely needed to get changed out and replaced. So we got a new one. We're putting it on. All new O-rings for the cap itself and the T-screw that you use to screw it down. The only thing that's not new is the actual rake horse themselves. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but we all good, all reconnected. All right, so we got the starboard all primed up, ready to go. Now here's the moment of truth. Now you ready? Please God, hope this works. We don't have power.
What?
It wasn't me that shut it off.
Oh, you didn't turn it off?
No. So just a few more hiccups and we're almost there. All right, so I think we just didn't have the fuel primed enough because we've primed it a little bit more and now she's running. Doesn't want to quit, doesn't want to cut out or bog down, which is nice. So we're just gonna let it idle for a little bit longer, maybe rev it up a little more. Mel's right now because there's a water leak that we found, but we couldn't really pinpoint without the motor running. So Mel's down there right now with the motor running to check where this leak is coming from to see if it's something that we could fix. But he couldn't really do that in the motor's condition if it wasn't running because he's looking for a water leak right now. So just revved up the starboard a little bit just to get the fuel running through the system. It seems to be fine, still running. So what we're gonna do now,
let me make sure it's clear,
is that we're gonna fire off both of them at the same time and just see how she runs. Let it idle for 10-15 minutes and see what happens. But so far so good. It's looking pretty good. So there's port. Both engines are running. Both engines are on. Finally on its own power.
check doesn't work.
Yeah, this one does.
So we got Captain Travis down there. He's going to move the boat over from Stock Island to Conch Harbor. He's just doing a once-over.
We put approximately 50 gallons in this tank, and it read just at a quarter tank, and it's a 200-gallon tank, so that's
Are we
correct.
drawing off of only one side right now?
To the left on the bottom, you'll see the fuel. It tells you, I think, port is port, starboard, is it not?
Yep, they're both set to port, but you only have fuel in the port side?
Well, this I know I put fuel in. I know there's fuel here, 50 gallons.
Okay, but we
Say
don't
45.
but we don't know what's on the
How
starboard
much
side?
is in that one? I only put maybe 10 in that side.
Okay,
And the indicator is indicating quarter tank on both.
on both.
I didn't know the condition of the fuel in there, so I didn't want to draw it through clean rake horse.
Yep. Should we switch and run everything off of the port tank?
That's entirely up to you.
I would feel better doing that, and we know the
Because
quality.
I know that
Yep.
this was at empty on the indicator.
Yep.
With 50 gallons of
So-
real good fuel,
Yep.
and it's just at a quarter tank.
So we know
that's-
we've got fuel and we know it's good fuel. Yeah. Let's go ahead and switch that over.
Okay. The generator has not been started, hasn't been serviced at all. So
The generator doesn't work.
Okay. I don't see a switch for the returns.
there's
So one switch does the control and the feed and the return all in one.
by the way the hoses run up behind that panel. Yes.
Okay, so I've got everything running off the port side right now.
So the tack's not working. Just get it to the slip.
I'll sync it by ear to this one.
Yeah.
Captain Travis Scott. Our company is Calico Jack Ventures. We do everything from commercial diving to general marine services, yacht deliveries. We're licensed and insured. For yacht deliveries such as this, we hold licenses up to 500 tons domestic, and including master of tow and any oceans.
And didn't you recently buy some equipment to help float boats?
We also own over 100,000 pounds of salvage equipment. We do marine salvage, both here in the Keys as well as elsewhere in the country. Storm mitigation after hurricanes and natural disasters. A little bit of everything. No one thing pays all the bills, but we diversify and we do a little bit of everything.
All right. You guys need any of that? That's who you call. All right. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, thank you.
What? You fixed it, Mel.
Did what we can do.
Glad to be seeing that one go. It'll be back. I don't know if he's going to have a bunch of work done on the engines. The generator doesn't run and the engines need some attention. Good news. Just talked to the owner. He is on board. Everything looks good and normal. I had a guy down on the dock working on another boat. He's going to go by and make sure that the air conditioning is working, the battery chargers are working, and the bilge pumps are good and no leaks. Very good news.
That he got back to the slip today on his own power.
Yes, wasn't towed under his own power. Took some extra time to make that happen, but it was worth it.
We got it started.
Yep.